Good evening. Welcome to Waking God's Child's YouTube channel. I am kind of here, sort of, kind of not really, with my co host, Candy Nelson, and we have been trying our hardest to come to you live for the past hour. And so, with that said, I will also like to add that my computer crashed on me. Sorry, hold on just a moment. The electronic harassment thing, though, it's real. Okay, so coerced targeting, that's a real deal. Okay, and it's kind of funny because I'm gonna just say this really quick, and we've already got like 6 people on here watching. Sorry, guys, for being late. Super sorry, but the whole point of tonight's podcast is coerced targeting, and also to do with like electronic harassment, targeted individuals, gang stalking, the whole shebang, all the experiences, the gaslighting, etc., etc. Well, wouldn't you know, the second I put that title in, my computer here, right there, both of those, there's two there, by the way, two DOS computers, done. Spent, gone, no more, no longer, will not work. So, again, electronic harassment is flipping real, folks. It is so real. So, I am doing this from my cell phone. Candy says my face is freezing up. So, if you experience that, you see my face freeze up, and I'm just like all cockeyed with like this weird look on my face, I promise it's not because I'm necessarily constipated or trying to, let out a fart or anything. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe that's possible. But just be aware that this is not going to be like at the tip top, podcast fringe of benefits here. It's we're, but you know what? We're here. We're here. Hi, Candy. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Was
okay.
that not the blast? A blast? That was so fun, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Fine.
God, but
Hi,
what an
Hottie.
idea.
We got Hottie. Where you been, Hottie? Missed you a
I
lot.
was wondering
I
the
was
same thing.
thinking
I'm like, oh, it's been well for her.
I was thinking, I was thinking last week, I'm like, I haven't seen him in forever and a day.
Yeah.
Um, so we're glad you're here. I hope you are not experiencing any type of electronic harassment or coerced targeting. When I say coerced targeting, what I'm saying is, isn't it funny how if you believe in one thing, if you're going through it, another, or you're experiencing something, how the whole world seemingly is coerced into calling you crazy or that just ain't so. You're delusional, you're this, you're that. And it's like and they gang up, hence gang stalking and everything else. But I mean, it's kind of a different scenario, but it's the same thing. They gaslight all day long. And it's not like just one or two people. It's freaking your whole family. It's everyone you know, everyone you knew, everyone you could know. The whole world literally gangs up against you, stacks the odds all against you, and says, you know what, we're just writing you off right now. You are absolutely bat crap, insane, crazy, and we clearly do not want anything to do with you. And that goes for those that you birthed from your own damn womb. Hello, have you met me? Yes, my own children, my own family, my own sis, my own bro, my own everything. And the funny thing is, though, we're still standing. So, how's that song go? I'm still standing. Hello. We've got, okay, bear with me, please. Unbearable. I got,
Unseeable.
sorry, I'm looking at a
Unseeable.
very, what's that?
Unseeable existence is what I
Thank
see.
you. Hello, unseeable existence. I was like, I could see it, but it is actually we're unseeable because I'm looking at a super tiny cell phone. But I do have it on the big screen, and even that is I'm blind to that. So, hi, Mr. Mission Control. How are you? How's everything going over there, Mr. Mission Control? Argo, I love you. And by the way, Candy, earlier when I was talking to you about, those that are experiencing some major things, Argos one that I was referring to as well. There's some hard stuff going on, let me tell you. I woke up, well, I went to bed one night just a few nights ago to this horrendous, horrible episode outside knocking against my house. Keep in mind, I live alone, with several guns and I'm sorry, did I say that? A lot of things that we pawns that aren't like sticklers, but they will stick you in the buttocks if you can't run fast. But long story short, I woke up the next day and every single cat, stray cat, and as you all know, I rescue, carcasses everywhere, all dead. Everything's dead. Dead strewn throughout my property. Everything's dead. Like nothing's alive. And I'm looking at guts and pieces and parts. And I shouldn't have to. Shouldn't have to, you know. And I went to bed that night hearing this horrendous knocking. It was loud, huge, and it wasn't like the size of like a very fat cat or even a large dog. It was like right up against my bedroom wall, which is, outside on the other side of that is my garage area, which is an open awning, carport. And I'm talking about slamming around like some 300, 400 pound man is out there slamming something around this way and that against the wall, against my glass, shaking. I could feel my wall shaking, my,
Hey,
my
hey, so
headboard.
a question for you. Did you hear any of the cats whining or crying out or screaming or anything?
Well, I was getting there. so,
Oh, okay.
so I'm
Sorry.
going through all this and I can hear this fight going on. Now, keeping in mind, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but that's not normal. I get possums out there. I get, there's all sorts of animals, skunks, raccoons. This was beyond the size of that. So, no, there's no snarling, there's no growling, there's no screaming or hissing, no claw marks, nothing. Like, no, scratching, none of that. Okay. So sorry for the poor um, werewolves. That's right. So sorry for the poor sound effects, but I'm telling you, this was beyond anything I have experienced, and all in one whack. I have woken up to dead kittens. I have. There have been coyotes that have come up and snagged a cat or two. That happens. I'm a country girl. I live in the country. But this was well beyond that. Don't, I don't have even, I don't know. I have no explanation. All I know is like I play this tough girl, right? Like I'm an animal rescue. I love animals, but these aren't my cats. But I'm out there feeding them, because they're bringing mice up, they're bringing snakes up, and they're leaving me these disgusting gutted goodies on my porch because they're so proud of themselves. To something knocking up against the side of my house, so large that it could have been a 300-pound man, as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's the kicker. I get up out of bed and I'm thinking, okay, this is a little unnerving. Okay. I mean, nobody wants to have to deal with this, but I'm like, well, I have, that whole area over there that's nothing but weapons. So I go grab the biggest one and I go out the front door and I hear all of a sudden I'm going out this front and something just bam right against the front of it. So I go hauling butt back to my room like a little coward princess. I don't even know what you want to call it. I go and I'm like in my room, like, what the crap? And then all of a sudden, dead silence. No more struggling. Again, keep in mind there was no moans, no cries, no screeches, no nothing. But I'm like, okay, so it's done. So I'm like peering through my blinds and going to the front door and the side door and the back door, and I'm listening, and nothing, just dead silence. I'm like, well, whatever it is, whatever it was done. I did not sleep very well the rest of that evening, but I mean, this all occurred about 2 to 3:30 in the morning. So, again, I wake up the next day. So I said I woke up to carcasses everywhere. Here's what happened. It wasn't initially I woke up to carcasses everywhere. I couldn't find even a drop of blood anywhere. The first thing I did was go to the side, when it was light out. And I couldn't see the struggle even. I couldn't see anything knocked over per se. And I have a lot of stuff out there because when I moved in, I didn't get all the outside necessities organized, so to speak. So it was kind of scattered, but it was still kind of tucked away, not neatly, but nicely. So, but I looked and they were all kind of in place, and the struggle that I heard was not there. And I'm looking on the cement because it's gray, light gray cement. I'm looking for blood drops. None, zero, zilch, nada. So it wasn't until the following day, and I see the turkey vultures out just right where my sidewalk ends, where the sidewalk ends and the road begins. Um, Okay, that's a song, by the way, but
Mm.
I see these turkey vultures going down, and and I mean, it's like, 20 foot from where the porch or the cement is in the awning where the carport is. And of course, I'm like, I gotta go see. I mean, I already suspected, already knew. And I get out there, and sure enough, just pieces and parts strewn throughout, like a 30-foot, like, so that back window there. So right beyond there, 30-foot area of just pieces and parts and carcasses of what was left of those beautiful animals that were not mine, but they're 2 years they've been here, just showed up and stayed and wouldn't go. And but I mean, so yeah, I went and checked it out, and that's what I found. But you tell me, there's no blood out there, but a struggle beyond your wildest imagination. I'm going for the guns, and then when something beats up against the front door and hits it so hard that it kind of throws me away from it, has my ears next to it. You tell me. I don't know what's going on. I know I see these aerial phenomenon, stuff in the sky. I know I've seen some really weird things, but I've never experienced that. And and not a single cat left. Now keep in mind, there were multiple cats running around this spot, like multiple. They like, I don't know if it's a neighbor. I don't know who. People dump stray animals in the country all the time. There's not a single feline left on this property in any which direction you look. And that includes if I go like a quarter of a mile up this way at the end of my road and turn right, another quarter of a mile, those people had cats. There's no cats there either. There are no cats anywhere, anywhere. So, anyone have a suggestion on that? Because I am so beyond puzzled right now. And again, I've experienced a lot in this, and the electronic harassment so real, targeted individuals, gang stalking so real, aerial phenomenon so real, Morgellons disease so freaking real, mountains once were trees so real. I can go on and on and on and on and on with everything that everyone says is conspiracy. I say bullcrap truth. And I believe that everything they've told us is a lie, but I have no explanation for what I experienced the other night. None. So, yeah, kind of that. Sorry, guys. I know I went off on a tangent. Hi, Joe. Um, but yeah,
Very
I
well.
mean, anyone?
Well, especially since there wasn't any noises or, you know,
No
I mean,
screechings, and usually if there's a cat, and trust me, I've experienced like dogs attacking cats before, and cats will put up one hell of a fight, but you're gonna hear them. Like nothing like that. But my whole wall was shaking. It was beaten up against the wall so hard. But then you would expect to see blood, right? But it was funny because like I instantaneously knew something was killing, because that's where the cats would go sleep. They would just somehow find that covering, especially if it was raining or whatever. They And again, not my cats. I'm an animal rescue. Animals find me. I do not know how or why, but they do. They know it's a safe haven, and I'm a sucker because God created them. So therefore, there's love for them. Long story short, though, I knew it. I could. That was my first instinct, but there was no indications it was them. But whatever it was that was moving about in a wicked, wild way, I knew was also very large, very huge, and capable of shaking an entire wall. And no coyote can do that. And again, I have shot me a few coyotes. I'm not going to lie. Not because I wanted to, I had to. This wasn't even like that kind of, not like a, and I have a red fox that lives on the property also, but that's way smaller than what I experienced the other night. And again, no blood drops, no nothing. Everything's moving, and it seemed like everything would be toppled over, but nothing was. And then finding all the parts in little pieces everywhere. Now, granted, turkey vultures can devour a carcass in no time, but this is beyond the point because they should have already devoured. Though, I mean, their cats are not that big. But Mama Kitty was pregnant with a huge belly. She had a huge belly on her. And the first thing that was empty on that piece and part was that part. And I'm not trying to be gross. I'm just calling it like it is because I mean, life at the end of the day is it's the great circle of life, and it's unfortunate, but it's truth. And I still believe that animals have souls and go somewhere as well. That's much better than this. But long story short, what was strewn throughout right outside that way, I still there's no explanation for it. So, um, you tell me. I've experienced everything else supernatural that I thought I never would, except for I've never experienced, the ghost or the hat man or knock on wood. But that one takes the cake. That one takes the cake. I mean, I just I don't know. So I'm trying to read some of these comments here. Unseen says I started capturing ancient alien creatures. Had seen on this.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that they see on the show on your phone. Really? That's crazy. Mr. Mission Control, Turkey Owls. Um, I'm a country girl. I'm a country girl. I live all my life, the whole
Hmm.
entire time in the country. I've seen everything and anything. When I say this experience was like no other, I kind of mean that. I mean, I watched my own beautiful dog get his throat ripped right from her neck just not too long ago by another large German Shepherd. Okay. And I mean, there is no fight like that fight. There is no breaking up. When they're latched on to the juggler, they ain't letting go. And I mean, that happened right in my eyes. I lay in my driveway holding the big dog down, praying I didn't get bit, and watching my dog slowly die right in front of my face. This was no comparison. And turkey owls, I've seen owls scoop kittens up, turkey owls scoop bigger dogs up, actually, well, medium size, fly off with them and their little heinies going up into the air like Batman. But this was not like that. Like I said, I'm a country girl. I am no stranger to the rain, but this rain, I was very much a stranger to. So I, I got no words. I can't deny. So I just know that there are things that some of us can't explain, and I don't necessarily believe that we have to explain. I just know that we also have things going on. Obviously, if you are or have been ever affected by electronic harassment, nanotechnology, MK Ultra, Morgellons disease, or any other type of EMP, EMFs, or any other type of frequency that Havana syndrome, there are things going on without doubt that are very real, very much here. And people talk about the dogmen or the mothman. And I tell you one thing I know I learned after going through my own experience a long time ago when I said none of this was possible, and then I started having my experiences. I learned to never, ever say never a long, long time ago. So if somebody told me that He-Man and the Incredible Hulk showed up with Godzilla at their house and they all had a powwow the other night, I am not going to doubt them. I might question it a little, but I don't ever say never anymore because sometimes I think that there are some very unexplainable things that happen and maybe they could be explained. I don't know. But I mean, not the explanations we've been given or fed while we live here upon this realm of what they call Earth and these meat suits. Because I mean, there's a lot that's been withheld from us, and I firmly believe that. So I don't know. And I'm sorry, I know I went off on a tangent there, but I mean that's weighed heavy and hard on my heart, and among other things going on, like huge holes in my neck, gaping holes that just occurred overnight, and then, but it's neither here nor there. Everyone's hurting, everyone's going through something, and I would love to know if any of you have experienced something similar, if your bodies are doing some strange things. Are you feeling some of these, things that could be associated with like Havana syndrome? Because I mean, there without a doubt is technologies that are being used on the human race. I believe that wholeheartedly. I know it actually. Nobody's going to tell me different. But what are your thoughts, Candy? I mean,
What is Havana syndrome?
well, Havana syndrome. So you know how I supposedly had COVID, but I had just went outside momentarily and I felt like I got just a huge dose of radiation for like just those 3 minutes I was out there, and I came in, I was deathly ill, hit the ground, dizzy, couldn't stand up. My hair came out in clumps, like just almost immediately. That's kind of what Havana syndrome did. Now that was in Cuba. So Havana syndrome was, it's been a few years back. I can't remember if it was like the 60s or the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, because it's been a while. But Havana syndrome basically describes Morgellons disease, in my opinion, but it on a more severe level of, like, you've been hit with an electronic weaponized frequency of pure radiation, along with a little dose of MK Ultra and anything else they can throw in the mix, so to speak. But I mean, you'll have to look it up, Candy. I mean, actually, I should have already had that ready to show. But I mean, when my own daughters, explain, like when they heard about what I was going through, and I tried to explain it to them years later after they were like, "She cray cray." They were like, that kind of sounds like Havana syndrome. So even my own children study this in school as well, and I believe, in what they try to say, and I have to agree. It is a a weapon that's being used in like frequency avenues, and I have to be very careful with how I say this. If you guys have a better way to say it or type it, and I suggest please do, because again, censorship is real, folks. But yeah, so I would suggest, Candy, if you're not familiar with it, definitely look it up, because it's freaky crazy, and it has a lot to do with a lot of things that you see people going through, including us. Um, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on. But like I said, I can pull up about 30 different patents, US patents, right here and right now, that can prove that these things are being used on the human race. And I think I was telling you about that earlier, but I mean, there's a US patent for everything. And many will say, well, that doesn't mean that they're utilizing that. Like, first of all, who even thought to make a patent on this, and why, first and foremost? And second of all, if they're going to make a patent, that means they're already using it. It's been utilized well before, because we're about 20 years in the behind with what they tell us, like, oh, we just landed on the moon, whatever they want to say. Just keep in mind, we're very delayed in our knowledge, and we're not going to learn that anytime soon, ever. We're always going to be about 20 to probably 40 years behind. And everything Tesla already had on his plate, that's been utilized for freaking a century at least now. So, and that's my opinion, but I believe I could probably back that up with plenty of proof. And again, that's me talking out loud.
Hey, listen, I got to get off here. I'm sorry. I just don't feel too good.
Are you okay? So y'all, she wasn't feeling good earlier, and again, back to what we were talking about. Candy, I love you. You go get some
Yeah,
rest, okay?
I was fine. I was fine till we started this daggum podcast and all that crap we
Yeah,
had to go through. And then all of a sudden, I started getting massive stomach cramps. Now my
the
head
proof
is cracking,
is in
and
the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. That's exactly what the whole podcast was about. All
all
right,
right.
darling.
I'll see y'all later.
I love
Bye.
you. You get some
Bye.
rest, okay? All right, guys. The struggle's real. This is proof right here. I mean, like, I'm not even joking. Like, these two computers crashed on me. They're done. They're done. They're not gonna work ever again. And her and I struggled to get on here. Finally got on, and keeping in mind what the title was, what I knew that we were going to be speaking about tonight. And then almost immediately, her stomach just balled up into knots and cramps, and she was nauseous and dizzy, and felt like her head was kind of swimming. And I'm not gonna lie, I was actually experiencing that before I actually finally made my cell phone work to do this. But I mean, there's some stuff going on, guys, and it is so real. Spiritual warfare is the most real thing that there is. That's all I got. I can't explain it, but I would love to hear any of y'all's stories, anything that you have experienced, because I'm telling you, like, every time I think it can't get any more bizarre or crazy, guess what? It does. It does in the way, in ways I can't even I can't put into words. Like, it's stuff you couldn't dream up if you tried, first and foremost, but it'll keep you in a state of WTF all day long, every day, and it just never leaves. It never subsides. Um, Long wave microwave. That's right. That's right, Argo. Exactly. And again, like, I literally am just getting part of my hair mass back, and it's all pretty much up here because of the new growth. But my hair fell out in clumps, and I was outside for a uno momento, por favor, kind of thing. And the sun didn't even feel right, look right. And I mean, you know how the sun suddenly has all these really kind of strange stray beams that go in directions that do not even make sense. Like, I mean, the sun used to just kind of radiate kind of equivalently all the way around, but it doesn't anymore. Yeah, I got hit with one stray beam, and I watched it come right at me because I'm out there filming anyway, because that's what I do. And I walked in and I hit my knees on this very hard concrete and hardwood floor, and I immediately started vomiting. And I mean, I was shaking, fever, chills. I couldn't move. I thought I was going to die. And I mean, I had just got out of the hospital from sepsis and pneumonia like a few months before that, where I almost did die. And even that shouldn't have happened, so to speak. Strange, strange things, guys, strange occurrences. But I am alive. I am kicking, and they are not going to hold me back. They are not going to hold me down. And I'll be damned if I shut up anytime soon. And I would recommend to all of you, speak up, speak out, be loud, be proud, because that's what's going to protect you first and foremost. Okay? When you're out loud about it and you are everywhere all day long, they ain't going to touch you. They don't want to. That's taking a chance. It's when you're doing it privately and talking behind, closed doors, or just a few people here, and they're not going to miss you at all. I mean, that's who they target, and it's obvious. Speak up, be loud, be proud, don't be afraid. And first of all, we weren't given a spirit of fear, but second of all, what are we really doing here if we can't speak up and speak out? What kind of life is this if we have to be quiet? It isn't. It isn't. So yes, there are two suns for sure. And I actually experienced that this morning on my way to a surveillance in Houston. First thing this morning is like 6 a.m. Had to get up. Sun started coming up around like 7:40, or I'm sorry, 6:40ish. And I'm driving out of here going towards Houston, and I'm looking up over to my left because that would have been the east. The sun coming up, kind of, the I'm on the highway. It starts curving a little, but I look in the corner of my eye and I see a really large looking sun, but it was much larger than it should have looked as it was coming up at sunset, given it the east, area, especially that early, and the distance it should have been, the size of it wasn't right. But, so there's a little bit of cloud coverage, and I see this huge, huge round, and then all of a sudden I look over, and there's another cloud that comes, and there's the big, large one, and then all of a sudden there's this little bitty, what I would have considered what the normal sunrise would have looked like. I mean, obviously not little, but compared to the big one, it was quite a bit. It was at least half the size. And I'm like, I've seen this before. I saw it about 6 years ago, one time coming from Missouri back. So from north to south, going from Missouri back to Texas. And I had witnessed it and observed that then. So that, again, 6 years ago, but yesterday I thought I had seen it, and I like, nah, surely not. But this morning, without a doubt, big sun, little sun, and they were like right next to each other. Anyone else experience that or seen that aside of the unseen existence here? Or I'm sorry, unbear. I cannot see it right. Unbelievable, unbearable. I'm gonna get it right. There's a bright, bright kind of light over this, and I can't see it. But you know what I'm saying. I'm talking to you. But anyone else aside of that, Heidi, have you? Argo, I'm sure Argo has. I wouldn't doubt that. Mr. Mission Control, wouldn't doubt it for a second. He's also, and by the way, Mr. Mission Control is an extremely intelligent person. I would recommend all of you, and Argo as well. If you have a chance to touch base with them on, I don't, Mr. Mission Control has a YouTube channel. Argo does not, but he has some insight that is, both of them just, they're very wise, and it doesn't hurt any of us to listen to people like us, because collaboration is key, obviously. Because that's what our government's doing. That's the collaborating, but they're keeping everything compartmentalized, and that's how they get away with it. But we are well beyond their jokes and their nonsense. And I say it's time that we stand up, and there's no reason to be afraid. Although I was a little bit afraid the other night, I'm not gonna lie. I hate admitting that. I'm always like, I'm not afraid. I'm too tough. I'm a tough girl. That night with the cats, and what was going on, that was terrifying. Of course, then again, I've had other experiences, as many of you know, with creatures walking right through walls, and I'm like, I am hallucinating. I have got to be crazy. I am definitely crazy. If I saw that, there's no way I'm sane. But then finding out, I'm not the only one, and everyone knows nobody just wakes up a normal human being, for whatever realm that may be, like what's considered, all their lives, and then one day everything changes, and nobody just wakes up crazy. They wake up aware, and that's totally different. So, and I mean, you guys know it. I know you know it. And for those that don't know it, and you're just on here, snooping or being nosy, because there's quite a few on here right now. I just want you to know, none of us would ever lie, nor do we have a reason to lie. Nobody loves negative or derogatory attention. Not anyone in their right mind that I can think of, or their wrong mind, for that matter, wants the kind of attention that says, you suck, we hate you, you no longer fit in, you're a loner now, you have no friends, sucks to be you. Nobody wants that, okay? So 1 + 1 = 2. Use your heads, use your noggins. It's not too hard to do, although our GOV, our loving GOV, and the world gov at that has made it supercalifragilisticexpialidocious hard to understand anything. They go to that coerced targeting where, oh, you didn't get that roller up your sleeve, or cover your mouths, everybody, run for your lives. She's not vax. She doesn't have a muzzle on. No, I'll be damned if I put that muzzle on either. You're kicked out of my store. Well, bye, Felicia. I'm leaving your store because I need some clean air to breathe. I do not want regurgitated crap right now. Thank you very much, and may I have another? So yeah, I'm that girl, by the way. I have always been a rebellious girl my whole life. I was a march to my own beat, but it came in kind of handy this go around. I'm just saying. So, and y'all, I'm getting tired too. I have been up since very early, and I just barely got home a little bit ago from running a surveillance on nonsense. I'm thinking people running surveillance on nonsense, but that's how my whole journey kind of started. When you're a PI, and you're sitting on a dark corner in the wee hours of the morning, and you got a few little time moments on your hands, and you got to stay awake, you start looking up, you start looking around, you start being really aware of your surroundings. And that's when you start seeing that your surroundings are not exactly what you thought they were. They're actually quite different. And then once you observe that, you start getting observed back. And once you're aware of them, they're aware of you. And then next thing you know, everywhere you go, they go. And then next thing you know, because you're aware, you're targeted. And because you're targeted, they get the whole group, your family, your friends, your loved ones, everyone you ever knew or loved in your life. They say, come on, she cray cray, get on board. And then you find yourself completely alone with nobody and no one. And you just don't really give a shit anymore if you're alone or not. In fact, you find out you'd rather be without the nonsense than with them. So thank God I get to live alone with nobody all day long, except for the cats. That one kind of sucks, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, because I think I understand animals way better than I understand humans. I mean, it is what it is, but I don't understand this world we're living in. But I also know we were never sent here and put here to try and understand it. We were all put here to make a difference, to change lives, to be the light that shines, to be the very best version of us we could be. And it wasn't for our comfortability. It wasn't so that we could like get ahead, get rich, and have everything. It was never, ever, ever about that. And if you thought you were here for any type of fairness, I'm sorry to tell you, there is no fair here. But it was never about you. This whole life has never been about me or you or us. This whole purpose in this setting right here was to make a difference and bring our brothers and sisters home. And that's all it's ever been about. And this is just a little wee moment. We have eternity ahead. This is nothing. But I get it. This is what we know. And this is what feels comfortable. And it's scary thinking, like, this is what I know. We're terrified of the unknown. Who wouldn't be? We're human. I mean, we're human, obviously. We're so human, we were given free will, and we had someone sent on a cross to die for the free will we were given in a most brutal way, who was absolutely perfect. 1 + 1 = 2, and it's a 2 + 2 = 4 that we're never going to understand, but somehow we still always want more. And we weren't promised more. We were promised more in eternity once we got through this little test. And it is that. But not only is it a test, it's like we should want to. We should want to do better. We should want to be better. We shouldn't want to be wealthy or rich. Yes, we got to have money to survive. I get that. To be comfortable, you kind of got to pay your bills. Trust me, I work my ass off. Freaking without doubt. Like the only breadwinner in my house, a single mom, do it alone on a single income, no child support. I do it by myself, 7 days a week, a whole day long. I do it. Do I want to? Mm-mm. Am I gonna? Yup. You know why? Because every moment in my job even gives me one more moment to touch another person's life and say, hey, let's start a conversation. I got like a little bit to share with you. And one thing leads to another. And the next thing you know, it's a snowball effect. And that person touches another person's life and it goes on and on and on. And I've seen it. I've seen it. I do it. I experience it. And I start a big portion of that. And I know you guys do as well. So just want you guys to know that I respect you. I love you. And I thank you for being so strong and so amazing in this time that we're living in. But I also want you to know that you were born for a time such as this. And I am here for you in any way possible. I don't have much. And everyone's like, she cray cray. I am a little cray cray, but only whenever the regulars like show up. That's when I get a little cray cray because I don't understand the simplicity of their minds. I'm trying long to understand, but even since I was little, I never understood the simplicity of people's minds that just don't have much substance, I guess. But it's not for me to say, hello, Propel. Thank you for being here. All of you guys, thank you for being here. I wish I could have had my computer working. Like Candy said, you're freezing up. This is going to look like crap. It probably is and does. And if I freeze up or if my microphone's not working, I'm sorry. But I have the feeling that you all get the message loud and clear because you are the living point of the message. You are the living proof of the message, and you are the living lights within the message. So, kind of that. All right, guys. Much love. I am out. I am exhausted and apparently old. So, that's okay, though. Just a little bit longer. We got to hang on a little bit longer. Don't give up. Just keep giving. We got this. So, love you. Sweet dreams, guys. Have a good weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, Felicias. Bye, guys.